Welcome to Lifestyle by SK, where wine, cigars, and relationships, and now coffee create a tapestry of extraordinary experience. On today's video, I'm going to be asking the question of how has social media impacted the way that people get into relationships? Why can't average people be with average people? For those of you who are looking at this apparatus that I have, this is basically a French press. I did French press me a little coffee for the video because I'm going to definitely need it for going over the topic that I have in this discussion. So the other day I did a video and this is a part 2 of that. And I was asking the question of why average people cannot get with average people. Back in the day when our great grandparents and our grandparents got together, they were average people during those times. And I'm saying average people because they were not financially in the same state that we're in now. They were, majority of them were not in the six-figure status. Most of them weren't making more than $75,000 a year. Most of them were working basic jobs in the same community. They raised their children. They had marriages that were more than 30 plus years. They had a foundation in which we do not have right now in our society, in the type of relationships that people have, that we have going on right now. And those of you who graduated high school before or on about 2003-ish, you're going to definitely understand where I'm coming from with this. If you graduated high school about 2004 or college around 2004, you're going to see the rise of social media. And social media has changed so much because people now see things online in which they cannot afford to maintain to impress people that they don't necessarily like. And that has had a major impact on relationships. Now, after you see the graph that I'm going to show you, which is going to have its sources from Statista and TNW as far as about 2019, but the site was going to be on the ourworldindata.org/internet if you want to go over and look at the information as well. Now, being a person who understands technology, who has experience with technology more than the average person, the things I'm explaining in today's video may rattle some cages, and that's perfectly fine. The perspective that I'm coming at is not in any means to target or downgrade men or women across all racial aspects or all ethnicities. It's not in that regard. It's basically to show you the facts of social media and how it has grown, and asking the question is, what is your stance on whether or not that has impacted the type of relationships that we have now? So when you look at this graph, looking at about 2004 to 2018, you see there has been a major shift. And this, people, going from 2004 to 2018 is almost a perfect 45-degree angle. And we are constantly growing and growing to a point where almost every single person on this planet is going to have some type of social media account. That means like 1 in every 3 people that you see in public has one of these social media accounts. Now, I noticed on there you had MySpace, and of course up to Facebook. You had, Facebook, YouTube, WhatsApp, WeChat, Tumblr, TikTok, Reddit, Twitter, Pinterest, Snapchat, MySpace. There's a whole lot of other ones on there, such as High Five, Black Planet. Some of you may have never heard of those. There were some social media platforms that were there before 2004. These were just the most popular ones that had a number of people who were registering for these web apps. Now, what this data that I just showed you is basically the monthly average user accounts and usage. And what that means is these social media platforms can see how many people log in within a 30-day basis. And the number of people that log in within 30 days is on a steady increase. So what does that mean? What that means is people who had relationships before 2004, who were either in relationships or starting relationships before 2004, they had to physically go out and meet people. Meaning, if they lived in Little Rock, Arkansas, they were either dating somebody that lived on their same street, in their same neighborhood, or maybe across town. Very rarely did you see people in like long distance relationships because you was able to attract what you saw. You only had access to what was in your community because you didn't have social media. You didn't have these apps on your phone to help you scroll through and look at pictures of people who didn't live in your community. So if people had access to people in their community, that's understood to be the fact that they had average people in their community. And average people doesn't mean that a person is unattractive. That just means that on social media now, you will see highly attractive people who may be all over the world because they have their profiles that you can pick from and people try and date. But when I'm seeing average people, I'm talking about in the context of you actually seeing everyday people that you are walking around seeing in the store, in your neighborhood. So you were actually able to date people who lived around you, and it seemed to have been the fact that they were in longer relationships. And when they broke up with that person, they started dating somebody else within the same community as well. Now that we have social media into play, we have our smartphones into play, people are now going online on social media. So they are able to date people in different countries and different cities, long distance relationships. Within these profiles, people, you have people who are fake. They have the filters, they have the hair, they have the nails, they have all these superficial things that didn't seem to have existed prior to social media coming out. Why? Because people want to impress other people online, so they're going to put on things that is not theirs in order to attract people from across the world. So now you have average people who are trying to get like people who are, say like supermodels or something like that. You may have like an average guy who may live on one side of the planet who may not make the amount of money a year, and he is definitely attracted to a person that he saw in a whole nother other country. And you can make up anything on social media to attract somebody. But when you get there in person, you realize this person's not who they are. They don't look anything like their picture. How many videos have you seen online of people who will have makeup on? A lot of you guys have seen pictures of women who have makeup on social media, but then you see them in person, they don't look anything like what they showed on their profile picture. And profile pictures is what getting people in trouble. And does that have a negative impact on the amount of time that people actually stay married in today's society? So it's nothing wrong, people, from looking at this graph. My thing is this: if you're dating, you're out talking with each other, get off of these. Don't even pull out your phone. Like, actually sit down and get to know a person and get to know a person in their natural state. As I heard somebody used to say before, fresh out of the shower, meaning you don't have on all your makeup, ladies, you don't have on all your hair. You are naturally who you are. And could you naturally attract the person who you may be able to be with and build a life with and a relationship with, as I discussed in the previous video? And that is something that we're missing right now if you want to be in those kind of relationships. So if you are out here seeking to be married, are you putting yourself in place to meet average people? Average people are going to be the ones who are not the high earners in society. It's like what? Like 1% of people who are in the top tier. You have about 10% of people who are a couple of levels down that are millionaires, multimillionaires a year. I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about the everyday. If you're getting up, going in, punching somebody's clock, if you are an employee of some company, probably 8 to 10 hours a day, you're seeing average people, average everyday working people that keep the society going. In those environments, are you naturally meeting someone, or would you naturally want to meet someone so that you can build a life with, so that you can have those relationships and the longevities of the marriages that your grandparents had? And that is what I wanted to really get into the heart of the conversation. So from seeing this from 2004 to 2018, What are your thoughts on this in terms of, has this impacted the way that average people have are able to meet each other? Meaning, without social media, average people met, they got into relationships, they didn't have the outside noise, they didn't have the social media noise. Versus people who may agree, okay, social media is great, this allows people to meet people from other places, but has this changed our standards in which we expect the person to come into the relationship having? I really want you all to think about that and take that into perspective. Definitely leave some of the comments below, like, listen, and subscribe to the channel. People, I hope that today's topics really helped someone out. It's going to be lifestyle.sk, where wine, cigars, relationships, and of course now coffee has created a tapestry of extraordinary experience. You all have a wonderful rest of your day.